Alright guys, I had to make this video because it's getting pretty ridiculous, right? So, I like this game at the beginning. I've said it time and time again. It was free-flowing. Yes, it was simplistic, but it was all about passing, moving, choosing the right formation, using that formation to beat your opponent. You could have skill defensively by manually moving your defenders into passing lanes and into dribbling lanes. And then the finishing, while simple, it was effective, right? If you earned a chance, you were likely going to score that chance. Along the way, Strikers, the development company, decided to start trying to fix things, and they showed just how terrible they are and why it took 8 years to release a game that's so, what would you call it? Rudimentary? I don't know the right word. Look it up in the dictionary, but basically what I'm getting at is it took them 8 years to release a game that is very, very basic, right? So, with that being said, the initial release after 8 years, we could handle that because FC was broken. It was during pre-patch, right? eFootball is just a whole different game. So I'm going to leave eFootball out of it because, honestly, if you look overall, eFootball doesn't get enough credit. It's far better than, definitely far better than UFL. But it is up there with FC. It's just so different to learn, to understand, that we're not going to include it. We're only going to talk about UFL and FC because they are similar, right? So with that being said, that simplistic take on a football game, right, was good at the beginning with where we were at as, a player base in football gaming. However, little did we know that very basic, game that worked at the time at initial release was literally all Strikers could do, as we've seen, because every time they try to fix something, they make it worse. Every time they try to take out one exploit, 3 more new ones come in because they're not good, obviously, at coding and all that type of stuff that I don't know the ins and outs of. It's very easy to tell, though, that they're bad at their job. Now, you take that and you combine it with the fact that there's so many, as I call, losers out there. I mean, what else would you call them? Who spends their time at anything that they aren't good at, but that they can, succeed at if they cheat or cut corners or whatever? I mean, that's the definition of a loser. They're not making any money. They're not getting anything out of it. They're not football fans because the way they play, right, using exploits to win, that's not playing football. So, I mean, I don't know another word for it other than losers, rats, something along those lines, right? Now, with that being said, I know there's some good people out there, because I've met them and talked to them, that like this game for what it was at the beginning and that try to hold out hope, that are very positive, and I appreciate that and I respect that. However, eventually, if you do the same thing over and over, right, and expect different results, but you keep getting the same results, that literally is the definition of insanity, right? So how many patches is UFL going to release, where it's a nightmare game that's even worse in some areas, maybe slightly better in other areas, and then we go, well, the next one will be better. Oh, well, the next patch, I'm giving it one more patch. How many times do you do that before you're truly, by definition, insane, right? So, me covering this game and why I don't put myself in that category is because once I started doing this and covering, football games, releasing content, releasing tactics, which you'll see in this video, I have some amazing tactics for UFL that, whether you like what I'm saying or not, you can use and test out yourself, like I've always said, and you'll see that they are good, because it's very easy to figure out this game. The reason why I went with 5-2-3 is because I know how to press in a 5-2-3. I know how to make it in the attack where my wingbacks are like extra attackers. But you have some silly commenters, let's just call them silly, to be nice, try to say, 5 at the back is an exploit. It's not an exploit. The 5 at the back is utilized by rats because it has extra bodies that they can throw behind the ball. However, you actually take away from your midfield, which is the area in which you need coverage to stop 30-yard finesse shots and to stop snapshots, which happen in front of your 5-back or 4-back or 3-back. It's not penetrating the defense. Therefore, the 5-back does not hurt. It actually kind of makes it easier for those rats because you're taking away, which I showed as I played a 4-2-2-2 and my 2 cams, which are kind of like, inside wingers in a 4-2-2-2. They actually come back, and now there's more players around that area where these ratty players are trying to get those 30-yard finesse shots. So the point is, this is what UFL is now, right? These kind of stats are what you see. This is not real football. And the fact that this isn't a one-off occurrence, these are common stats in UFL because it is not about skill. It is not about who is the better football player. It is truly about who is going to utilize the most exploits and who is better at exploits, right? That is not to be confused with actual skill in football. You take that and you combine it with all the wonky animations that go on. I'm talking about players not touching the ball as it runs right by them, letting a ball sit in front of them and waiting for the other team to come get it. Broken passes where you're literally trying to pass to a striker and the ball goes totally in the opposite direction to a winger. Animations where the goalie saves point blank shots from inside the box after you earn chances, like what you've seen right there, and then they'll let up 40-yard shots, because of the animation from a finesse shot or whatever the case is, because it's an exploit and not true football, right? Working your way through proper build-up gives you less of a chance to be successful scoring goals than using exploits. Therefore, it is pointless playing this game if you are a skill-based player, which is the only point in playing. Why do something for exploits? If that is fun for you, then you need to really get yourself checked out, right? Like I used the baseball example earlier where if I keep striking out and I need to go work on my hitting, the fun, right, is in improving at a sport. Same as you grew up and you played a sport. The fun was in practicing and getting better. And then when you do find success in games and in future, parts of your career because of all the hard work you put in, that's what's rewarding about it. It's not rewarding if there's a cheat that you use. If you cut corners, right, then you know that you didn't really earn anything. You just cheated. You used literally an exploit, which is something that shouldn't be in the game, but it is in the game, and therefore you use it to cover up your lack of ability, your lack of skill. And that's exactly what UFL has become. So any player out there that is not a loser, that is literally hoping that they can one day play football in this game with what Strikers has shown, you really need to check out, your priorities. And I mean that because I love football. I love football gaming. I love that you can put in work, right, and practice and work on your skills and improve in areas you're weak at and strengthen even more areas that you're strong at. Just like in real football as you would do. Just like in real sports in general that you would do. That's the beauty of it, right? And this game, whether it was a football game, baseball game, basketball game, tennis, I don't care what it is. The fact that it is a game that is exploit-based, right? And that is so bad as far as the development goes, right? With all the goofy glitches and everything. And then there's still players that are playing it, right? If you aren't a rat loser, which if you are, there's no point in even addressing them because they have their own issues. They're totally, they're out in left field. But if you are someone like me in playing this game, right, and you look for different ways that you can improve, actual football methods, right? Meaning no different than how you would train in real life, but in the video game sense, right? Using the right tactics, then utilizing those tactics the right way, working on your passing, working on proper dribbling, proper shooting, working on, getting the players that fit your play style. All these things are ways that you can improve, right? And then get better results on the field. Not this nonsense you're seeing on screen. This player right here, there's a point in this game, it was 1-0, and it was literally so bad that I was saying, as bad as this is, it's not funny because if I don't score one of these 700 chances that for some reason the goalie is saving, right? Meaning like if I don't do 1 or 2 or 3 exploits, I'm probably going to end up tied. I could even end up losing this game. It was so unfathomable with the difference in skill between me and this player you're seeing that it was like I could lose this game. I could tie it because this was on stream. And look what ends up happening. Only in UFL could this happen. I ended up getting a red card with Ronaldo when I pressed the shoot button. Somehow, I don't even know. You can play that and watch how that unfolded. The ball several times rolling away from players, going in opposite directions, and then you pass. And the fact that players are doing this over and over and over again and expecting different results, especially when there are 2 other football games out there. And like I said, we'll just talk about FC because it is the most similar. eFootball is just so unique of an experience. But, I mean, this type of a game right here, you're going to see it ends up 7-5 me, but what you're seeing is actual football. What you're seeing is that you are going to get rewarded as a more skilled player as long as there's not server lag. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,001. I get that the server experience, right, or the servers, well, however you want to say it, in FC are terrible. That's the one area UFL and eFootball and pretty much any video game has EAFC beat. Right? For whatever reason, their servers are awful. EA Sports in general is known for having terrible laggy games and stuff like that, but in particular, FC is like the king of being having inconsistent gameplay due to the server. But we're talking about just football, okay? In football senses, it is insane. It doesn't matter if you're a Division 7, 8, or 9 player, which I imagine is the only reason why some players go to UFL, because instead of being like Division 8, they can be, I don't know, Premier Division, right? However, it is not football over there. It is nonsense. There's very few exploits. This morning I would have said 0, but I actually saw one earlier where you cross it back post and can head it in. So I will say few exploits, not 0, because I want to be accurate with this. But my point is that all that crap that's going on with UFL, and you're still playing that over FC. It doesn't matter if FC costs $300, right? The bottom line is, it's just a much better football experience. It's actually passing and moving. It's actually using your knowledge of the game, using your ability to dribble in the right times to dribble, pass in the right times, finding the right pass, shooting, using the right shot. Like, it's actual football. And then people say, well, it's ice skating on grass, or it's, well, look at the scores are like football scores. It's 7-5. But you watch these highlights and you tell me, and then go watch a UFL game where it's 14 shots to 0 and the game ends 0-0. But you're telling me that's what you'd rather have than a 7-5 win? You're telling me you'd rather go play UFL and tie, let's even say you tied 2-2 and you have 2 well-earned goals and your opponent has 2 40-yard finesse shots or whatever other exploit they use, and that's what you're dealing with, as opposed to winning a game, I don't know, 7-5, where it's actual football, right? But it's just a sped up, speedier version of the game of football, right? Even if you would call it an arcade style of football, it's still football. So, like I said earlier, whether it's eFootball, and I have one, Japanese fellow, because in Japan, eFootball is super popular, and there's one Japanese fellow or lady that is watching my videos. I would much rather play and provide football videos for that game, because it's actual football, than I ever would, like to stream or make videos for UFL, because it's not football. And I'm saying this as somebody who has the most viewers out of all the games that I cover in UFL. Out of the 3 football games I cover, FC is super saturated because it's the oldest and has had the longest standing content creators. I don't care. It's a much better game. I'm going to tell the truth. eFootball, same thing. Not even the most popular in my region. I don't care because it's real football. I'm just telling the truth. I don't care if this score instead of 7-5 me was 25-20 the opponent. If it was still football, that's better than a game full of exploits where you're literally, what are we doing with it, UFL? What are you proving even if you get a victory? That is not football at all. Watching all the glitch nonsense, watching all the exploits unfold and doing that game after game, I just think that people really need to take a look at how they're spending their time with that, because when I play these games, it's for the love of football. When I started this channel, it's for the love of the coaching aspect and helping players get to a higher level. No different than why I coach young players in real life, right? There's certain, players out there in these video games that just need some guidance, and then they could get to that next division or could reach that goal they want to reach. But in UFL, think about it. In order to really help people, find success, it wouldn't be about the typical, use this skill, work on your shooting in this way, work on your passing, use these tactics to suit your play style. Here's how you figure out which players you use that suit your play style. It would literally be, here, try to shoot from, this area on the field, full powered, and this will glitch into the upper corner, or try to get this player and run around. There's literally a player in the comments like, why don't you have this player and this player and this player? You need to learn how to abuse this player, and then you'll score too, and you'll win. You guys are missing the point. I don't want to do that. That is pointless to me, right? And it should be pointless to you. I'm not trying to tell people how to spend your time, but by definition, that is pointless. You are proving nothing by, winning a game of what? Exploits? Unless you're literally trying to be the king of the exploiters, I guess. But as far as like playing football, right? It is truly pointless because it is not football. UFL is not football. So I just wanted to break that down because you hear that about, the movement, it's so fast, it's the scores are crazy. At least in UFL, they're actual football scores. Yeah, 0-0 with 20 shots to for one player, 0 shots for the other. Or when there's goals, it's the same nonsense that you just seen here in a game where the much skilled player loses because he doesn't do these same exploits, right? I mean, that's all there is to it. But it is what it is. I just had to kind of break that down, as far as what I was saying in the heat of the moment on stream. But even if it was in the heat of the moment, it was during a loss, it doesn't change. You can see there's a time when I was up 2-1, even when I was up 1-0 in this game, I was saying the same thing. And at those times when I was up, you wouldn't have thought that player I just played ever was going to win. I mean, he had 0 skill. But, like I even called it in there, this isn't a game of skill. So, of course, you see what happens. But it doesn't change the fact of the matter. Test all my theories out, by the way. Tell me how many games you play in UFL where nonsense happens that's not football related, but you lose games because of it, or where your opponent scores a real football goal as opposed to an exploit. Tell me how many chances that you earn that are true football build-up plays that you don't score, right? Because, the goalie saves the breakaway every time, or because of the post glitch or whatever the hell you want to call it. Tell me how many times that happens. And then, even if you don't have FC, go watch my videos, even the high-scoring 7-5, 5-4, whatever games, and tell me any of those instances where you don't see an actual football goal, where you don't actually see proper build-up. Yeah, it's super fast-paced. Yes, it's a lot of goals, but it's still football. So, just had to break that down. Keep grinding. Keep having fun. I will see you later. Like I said, it's very easy to help with UFL, whether you agree with me or not. I'll still keep providing, the tactics. I have a very good 4-2-2 that I was using that you need to try out. Like I said, you don't have to like what I say to utilize what I have, and you can see if you like it or not. But either way, facts are facts, and I'm never going to shy away from whether it's a popular opinion or not. Even though the numbers are crashing in UFL, and I do think a lot of people agree with what I'm saying, it just is insane to me that there are still people that I actually respect, right, and I think highly of based on just talking to them online, as highly as you could think of one person by knowing them online, and they still waste their time with UFL. That's the part that's crazy. But the beauty is there's other football games out there. That's where you really should start, I strongly suggest, let's say, that you start looking into those, because I don't even see this game lasting anyway before it goes under from lack of, players. So I will see you on the next one. Peace.